It's all good.
There we go, and we're in. Hey everybody, welcome to Fortnightly Mindset Reset with me and Rachelle. This is a very improvised, in isolation version. Me and the kids are both on the recovery from COVID, so we're doing an interesting technology version, so bear with us. But the conversation's still going to be fabulous. So just a reminder, I'm Alana, co-founder from Your Success Team, helping you learn to shape your business to be as unique as you are. And obviously a massive part of that is your mindset. And with me, I've got the lovely Rachelle.
Hi everyone, Rachelle from Your Happy Place. We help people to find their happy place through our online program, the Positive Mindset Challenge. That's super awesome to be here with you today. We've got some really exciting things to talk about with you today.
Yeah, so today we thought, because we don't have any guest lines up, and obviously we've had a bit of an interesting week get thrown our way, we thought we'd stay on topic and talk a little bit about mindset in small business, and just some of the things that we have witnessed and both found personally useful in our journey as business owners. So I'm actually going to hand the floor over to Rachelle, because like most things, she's got a shed ton of wisdom locked up there in her brain that she's going to share. But she has been running business alongside members of her family for over 20 years. So obviously she has ridden some of those circles of business life, as well as more in more recent years running Your Happy Place. So now she wears those dual business hats and has a lot to offer. So Rachelle, if I pass the floor over to you, do you want to share with people perhaps some of the things that you personally have found really, really helpful in your journey as a business owner?
Thank you. So I think one of the biggest things when we first start a business for ourselves is the feeling that we have to do it all ourselves. We want at the beginning of that time, money's tight and we think we can save funds, save money and do it better if we just do it all ourselves. But actually, you have your strengths. When you start a business, you have your own strengths, and that's why you come into business for those particular areas, and you don't have strengths in every single area of the business necessarily. So the parts of your business that aren't your strong points, looking back, definitely the advice I can give is sub those tasks out. So whether that is the social media, whether it is the human resources side of things, whether it's the advertising, the marketing, the sales, whether it's stock control, whether it's accounts, whatever side of your business is not your strong point and doesn't excite you to do, sub it out. Pay that extra little bit of money to have someone help you, and then you'll have more time to spend on the things that you really enjoy doing in business. And of course, with mindset, when you're doing more of the things that you enjoy, then everything just flows so much better. So probably my first piece of advice would be just to get other people on board to help you. And a huge part of that, of course, is to get a business coach. Absolutely massive in those first few days. And obviously, Alana's got a lot of knowledge in this area, being a business coach herself, but just business coaches are just absolutely invaluable. It's that person to pick you up when you're going off track, when you're overwhelmed, to keep you on track, pick you up when you're feeling down. But it's also the person to really help you get clear on why you're doing the business that you're doing, your big goals. Keeping you aligned with those goals, keeping you remembering why you're doing business when the times get tough. And also, of course, giving you that clarity around your business to get your to-do list in the right order. So we can very easily procrastinate and get busy working on the business or working in the business instead of on the business, and waste a whole heap of time in that sort of area. Yeah. So, the business coach, they push you outside your comfort zone, which is fantastic. They help you to keep that momentum going. So many gold nuggets to get from having that person alongside you, your champion alongside you. Yeah.
Have you got any specific examples you can recall of, because obviously 20 years in business, that's quite a long journey, and there will have absolutely been dips on that ride. Have you got any specific examples of where you're found yourself in a quandary or floundering, and how you or the help with the business coach or those people that you had around you managed to get yourself back on track?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you're in business for yourself, and I've really found this in my business, is that you're your own best champion, but you're also your own worst enemy. So sometimes,
Yes.
all the doubts come in, and you're just the imposter syndrome, where you've got that little voice inside your head going, just it's too hard, you can't do this, who's going to listen to you, all those sorts of things come along. And that's where having that business coach is key to coming out. So definitely I've had that where I've just procrastinated and just got busy doing getting the website right or getting the business card right, all those things that aren't as important. Yes, they need to be done. However, doing the big tasks of working on your business is more important. So what I found in those times is actually stepping outside my comfort zone and picking up the phone to make that phone call that you think you can't make or you aren't brave enough to make. That to that customer, say, would you like my business? That thing, action is the best way to get through that fear where you're kind of stuck and you don't know what to do next. And just picking up the phone and making that phone call completely frees you from that fear and gets you on that momentum again to get moving. So I would definitely say action.
Yeah.
On the business.
That's such a good tip. And it's amazing how I witness, in the work that I do, so many times people get caught up in busy work, and actually like a phone call would fix it all within about 5 minutes. But we just have this real, I think when it's our business, we just have this real lethargy, right, that holds us back from wanting to do the thing that someone might say no to us, or and so we'll go and hide our fear by busy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without wanting to say that it is fear.
Absolutely. So true. And I think everyone is in the same boat in that respect. You definitely have that feeling of you're the only one, and you look around and you see the best of what everyone else is showing you, and you think, I'm the only one feeling like this, or I'm the only one not absolutely cranking it every single day, and that hurts too. That can put you back a few steps. So
so true.
The other really neat thing that actually that both Alana and I feel is a great thing for when you're first starting a business is to join a business networking group. And they are just absolutely invaluable so we both belong to a BNI group in Tauranga, and just amazing. And in any place, any town, they're all chapters are all over the world, and there's often several of them, so you can visit several different business networking groups and find the one that feels right to you. But just to make those connections, to connect with people who can help you in your business is massive. So the business coaches or the marketing or sales people or inventory people or accounting experts, but also to talk to people that are going through the same situation as you, talk to other business owners. That's
so true. And I think like we were chatting as we were trying to work the technology around, because I think some of us are lucky in that we do know more people who are self-employed, and so that means that you're naturally hanging out with people who understand the lingo or understand the pace or understand sort of what might be going on for you at different points in that journey. But if you're not surrounded by people who are self-employed, or let's say you're starting out your business but you're also still working, you've got a different support circle around you. And so those networking groups, and it doesn't have to be as formal as or as structured as a BNI, but just finding other people who are in the same boat can really just, I think, bolster your confidence. And it means you're sharing a language that you might not be sharing with friends and family. And so it can just help diminish those feelings of loneliness, because it can feel really lonely, especially if you've come, from a great team environment or ex-corporate or something like that. And then all of a sudden you're out on your own, having to do all this stuff, and you're like, I'm not good at this stuff, but everyone else is good because I'm watching social media and clearly they've got it all together. Well, they don't, because we're all making something up on the daily. But it does play in, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%, it so does. And that's just enough to pull the rug out from under our feet, just take away our confidence in that day, which means then that we won't be working, as productively, won't be making the right choices, won't be stepping outside our comfort zone, and all those reasons. So it just helps so much to be able to know that other people are going through the same sorts of things, because all of a sudden, you are dealing with selling yourself selling your business, you are potentially dealing with customers, with employees as well. So it's handling, that side of things too. And joining a business networking group, you just get aligned with all sorts of people that have the skill sets that you don't have, and can make a really nice synergy of working together, and helps so much. Having people on your team.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's a really good point. Like, when you get to that point in business where you have a team, that can also be a really lonely path to be traveling, because you've now day to day, all the people you're around are now, yes, you might have like a great relationship with them, but you're also now the boss, and so that comes with its own dynamic. And so if you don't have that support around you, all of a sudden it's a new gulf of loneliness to be sort of facing into, isn't it? Because you're like, well, I can't complain to them, because then they think that like maybe something's wrong with the business, and then and now I can't get my staff worried about like, help.
Absolutely, it is so true. So just having those people to chat to that are going through the same thing helps so much, because we definitely all think we're the only one going through it. We think the only one with staffing issues, or with supply issues, or with issues of confidence, or talking to customers and things like that, and you're totally not. Marketing problems, all those things, you're totally not. So massive help.
Yeah, there's always something. And I think as well, particularly for us Kiwis, I think that there is something in our national psyche that, we live here, we're at the other end of the world, and so we're quite independent, thanks. And so I also think that plays out, that we're not particularly good at asking for help. And then if you're then being fed lots of social media stuff, or you're wanting to appear that you've got it all together, because these friends and family have been looking at you since you started this business, probably slightly jealous, like, I'm just going to wait and wait for the speed wobbles. Have you sort of, what have you found helpful yourself to get over that reluctance to ask for help?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good question, because it's normally around, that's a money thing, right? Because you think, as soon as I take someone on board that's going to come and help me, then I have to pay them. The business can't afford to pay them. So that's a really tricky thing. So probably the best thing I've found is just picking up the phone and asking people for their advice. Yep. And, people love to help other people. They love to give their advice. And by picking up the phone to someone else, whether that's someone that's got skills in the area that you don't, or whether it's another business owner, just picking up the phone and saying, hey, look, I'm struggling with this. I can see you've nailed it. You look like you've nailed it. You look like you've got it down pat. Could you give me some advice on what I can do? And it's a huge thing to think, because we want to, as Kiwis, like you said, we want to appear like we've got it all sorted, and like everything's under control, and that we're just smashing it. But, we can't smash it in every single area of our business. We can't be an expert in every single area of our business. And people are just so willing and keen to help. So picking up the phone is definitely my key point, and ringing someone that has got a strength in that area, just to say, hey, look, would you have time for a coffee, or could I ask you a question, or would you tell me how I can get better in this area, or who should I talk to that can help me in this area? Just don't sit back and just be in your own world trying to make it happen. Just reach out to others and get others on board to just even chat for half an hour and give you some advice. Anything like that is super helpful. That would be my biggest thing. That's definitely pulled you out of those moments of just not knowing what to do.
So true. And I guess that kind of comes back to that, having the network and having the people around you, because it's quite hard. Like if you were sat there in your first couple of years in business and you didn't know anybody, that could be quite a hard piece of advice to then hear, which is, I'll phone a friend and ask. And you're like, I have no friends.
Yes.
Like, who can I call? And so I guess that comes back to, the more that you surround yourself with people who might be going through the same stuff, and it's not hard to find networking groups, right? Like you can have a look. I mean, there's even online ones you can just, like if you just want to tippy toe in and just do the Facebook thing, or or just reach out on LinkedIn, and you can walk as like a quiet little virtual wallflower while you build your confidence up to actually realize that we are all struggling with something, because I think that's what I know I've spoken in a few of these conversations about being conscious of what you consume, and some of our guests have as well. Because if the algorithm has picked up you're a business owner, the algorithm will be feeding you a whole lot of messages and things, and there's this huge big industry to make you feel like you've not got it all together in order to sell you a solution, right? Like there's an awful lot of marketing that's based around, you're crap at this, you don't have time for this, you haven't nailed this, like follow this little magic formula. And so you've got to be really conscious, don't you, around what you suck into your brain, because like Siri's listening has worked out your own business, and so you'll be getting fed stuff that could like send you further into that everyone's got it all together kind of feeling if you're not careful.
Absolutely. And that's where working one-on-one with someone is really good, because when you're starting off a business and you're trying to be successful in business, there's so many online programs to help smash your sales and marketing records and all this, and double your business and all this, and there's lots and lots, but they're generalized and they're not specific to you. So when you're starting a business, and every person has a different type of business and a different skill set and different needs, so that's where working with someone one-on-one just can really hone down into what are you trying to achieve, what are you trying to do, and then when the business coach, obviously their whole role is listening to what you're saying and where your strengths and weaknesses are and where you want to go, and tailor packaging something to help you and a path forward for you, and then holding you accountable on it. So you're right, that's huge. Rather than getting sucked into the social media and all the different sales things that can pop up, working with someone one-on-one is just absolutely invaluable. It's and that that will pay for itself. So
and give you that perspective, like just like lift you out of your pity party almost.
Absolutely. And it's okay to be vulnerable. I think everyone can relate to that because we're all in that situation. So it's okay to say to people, look, I'm doing this business because I love this side of things and I'm really good at this and I really know my stuff, but this area, this is not my strength, and I don't know this area and I need some help with this. So it's okay, when you're trying to sell your business or you're standing up in front of a networking group, to say, hey, this is my business and I know it and I'm great at it and that's why I'm doing it, but this stuff over here I don't know and I need some help with that. Does anyone know anyone that can help me with that? And it's okay to show that you're human. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. We're not all strong in every single area. It's okay to do that and to say that. And that's when you'll get, people love that, because everyone can relate to it, because we're all the same. We're all the same.
And I think that's such a reassuring thing as well, especially for those of us who might have been in business for longer. If we're then demonstrating that vulnerability for those just starting out, and they go, oh, well, phew, like if Rachelle's feeling like that and she's been in business for 20 years, phew, it's okay that I'm in month 4. And,
Yeah, absolutely. That's so right. And people, when you show people that it's okay to be like that, you give them permission to reach out, you give them the confidence that they need, and people so want to help. Everyone wants to help. Everyone's got little gems and gold nuggets to share, so everyone wants to get on board and help you, and just open so many doors, and it'll help you so much along that path. So definitely don't struggle to try and do it all yourself. Definitely reach out.
Yeah, I love it. And we've talked quite a lot about in-person stuff. And obviously, if the last couple of years taught us anything, it's that in-person's not, not our given right. Have you found in your journey any I don't know, books, podcasts, any of those more online-y type, less in-person resources to be helpful for you? Mindset wise, energy wise, just facing into the grind of business?
Definitely. I found that having a podcast of some sort in my car the whole time, whenever I jump in my car, it just keeps me focused. So and there's so many different topics of podcasts too, so it'll be whatever I'm having a challenge with at the moment. So whether that's, and for me, I listen to a lot of podcasts on happiness and on mindset, because that's just my thing and I love it. And it keeps me on track. So no matter what your area of or your area of that you need help with, or no matter what your love is, just having those constant podcasts going on. I mean, not necessarily all the time, but you jump in the car and one's playing, it so helps keep you focused. Reading books I find really tricky because I just don't have the time to read books because I still have kids in the house, and I just don't have that moment. But Audible, or online books are fantastic for that too. So I am constantly listening to books and podcasts and keeping in that zone. And that could be around, business success. It could be around sales and marketing ideas. It could be around mindset. It could be around growth of your business, just anything that rocks personal development, anything that rocks you in that moment. TEDx talks are just fantastic. Yeah. And so they just keep you, and even if it's off topic to your business, TEDx talks expand our minds. There's so many incredible things that people are doing out there, and often listening to TEDx talks or podcasts about amazing things that other people are doing is so inspiring. It really does inspire and motivate you to get out there and do your part too, and do the things that you love in business as well. So I think rather than the news or the radio, I think listening to those inspirational and knowledgeable podcasts and books and things are gold. Yeah.
Nothing like a good car dance party, but also nothing like an uplifting.
Absolutely. And you so need that sometimes. You so just need to throw away all that seriousness and just let loose and have fun fun. Yeah, absolutely. So what about you? So Alana, what can you tell us from a business coach point of view? What's a couple of your favorite little gold nuggets or things that when people come to you and say, help, what do you start with? What do you sit down and start with them? How do you kick off?
Well, I think you touched on it before, in that because everyone's different, like I don't think that there is a formula, but what I have seen is, and you sort of alluded to it at the start, is the more clarity you've got on your big picture and your why, the easier it is to stay connected to that vision when stuff's really hard. So that's personally where I love to know that, like when we're helping and working with someone, that there's that alignment, that they are really clear on knowing what they're working to and why. Because what that does is it just helps us keep that as the like your true north for decision making. So how do we help from an accountability or prioritization perspective? How do we make sure that you're not getting distracted by this shiny new thing that's just squirreled up to say hello, and sort of starting there. And then I think so much of it, you're right, so much of it comes back to accountability. And it's amazing as humans how the second we know someone's watching us, or the second we know we're going to have to say to someone, oh, well, I was aiming to call those 5 people this week and I haven't, here's why, we've just got this, we do have an innate kind of need for accountability, I suppose. And so I think that just putting in some really basic systems to help with that accountability, so clarity and accountability, and then I think so much of the rest of it then falls out. And it's you're quite right, like everyone's running their business in a totally unique setting. Like I'm running my business locked in a house. I'm going to have spent 11 days in my 3rd trimester with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. There's a whole lot of business advice that can just sit in the letterbox and wait for me to get to it. And equally, you're juggling 2 businesses and the dynamics of having, teens and the sport juggle and all of that. And that impacts on the energy that you've got, and even little things like having the energy to read a book. So if we all apply this cookie cutter and we, oh, well, you should read this book here, and then you should follow this step here and this step here, it's just going to make us all feel like we're sort of set up for failure rather than for success, so understanding that we're all totally unique in our ecosystem. And also, and I think, I've spoken about this a few times, but I just think we may be underestimating the impact of the last couple of years on our ability to do stuff. And I was working with a client a couple of weeks ago, and they've got amazing big picture goals, the 5-year, the 10-year, it's looking amazing, but also they're facing into some really serious staffing challenges, the nature of the industry that they're into. And so it's reminding them of that perspective, and rather than that base programming of push through and hustle harder and like, just find some extra resources. Like, actually, it doesn't matter if that doesn't happen in the next 6 months. Like, that dream is still going to be there to pick back up. We're not veering off the path. We're just slowing down, and we're slowing down so that, we don't burn out on that journey, so that we've still got the energy to pick the dream back up when it's ready. Because I think if we just try and do that whole like push, like it's just, I think that's part of what contributes to that just sense of tiredness and overwhelm and stuff that we, can see and hear when we're out in the world.
So true. And as Kiwis, we've got a real, just do it, just keep on going and work harder to get it done, and get up earlier or work later. We're very much that attitude. And that's not the most efficient, the happiest, the nicest, the best way to work. It's not going to get you the best results. You don't work at your best when you're stressed and pushing yourself like that. And changing those expectations. So, we've had those expectations, and that's the way we've always worked. But with the challenges that we're facing at the moment in the last couple of years, it's just pulling that back a little bit to say, actually, we just need to slow down a little bit. We can't necessarily work at the pace we were working at, and that's okay. It's actually okay. We're just going to roll with it the way it is. We're not going to keep on pushing and trying to achieve what we had achieved before. Right now, you can definitely work towards that, and that will happen again. But just going with the flow of how whatever you can do right now without that push is so key to everything just flowing in a much better way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
bang on. Yeah,
I love it.
So true. So if we were going to leave everyone with something really solid as we wrapped up, I was thinking, if you've always got a podcast on, have you got a great podcast you've heard lately that you want to share with everybody?
I reckon one of my most favorite little TEDx talks of all time actually is, and it's just so funny and it's just so true, is The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. And he just is brilliant. He just tells the funniest little story on there. I just love his anecdotes and his things. But I'm really into any kind of podcast that's giving you good mindset advice, good happiness advice, just how to put more happiness. And it's interestingly because, the same sort of themes come up all the time. However, it's just those little reminders about things we can do every day to create, just to put ourselves in that right frame of mind. So anything that's got a happiness in front of it is awesome, or a mindset in front of it is awesome. I'm just trying to think of one, and if there's any other one in particular. I think I'm just such a general person. I jump between lots and lots of different things. So yeah,
must have like quite the list to scroll
I do
through.
have quite a list. What about you? What's your
So I would say similar. Like, I actually quite like listening to stuff in terms of podcasts that is, to what you were talking about, slightly different, because I quite like spotting the links cross-transferably, like something that's really random. So one of my go-to, I don't have many go-to podcasts, but one that I've listened to probably, I'm going to say coming up 4 years on the trot, is the 10% Happier with Dan Harris.
Nice.
Yeah, and that is like, they're normally quite grunty big ones, but like he'll be interviewing a Buddhist monk, and then he'll be interviewing like a doctor that specializes in neurological something rather, and just the diversity of the conversation. Because to your point, I think we can try and cram too much into our brains about stuff we need to work on business wise. So yes. I think sometimes if we just pare that back and go, well, actually, if I inject some stuff on it about me, myself, rather than outright business skills, it's a really strong foundation to then put the business skills on. So I'll pop the link to because I know the TEDx talk that you're talking about. So I'll pop that link out for everybody, as well as the 10% Happier podcast, and then hopefully that gives people something really solid.
Amazing. Fantastic. It's super awesome. Well done. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I've got a couple of highlights, so I'm going to share those before we wrap up, and then I'll ask you for yours. So I loved what you were talking about around action to conquer fear, and kind of, just do something. And I think that's a really lovely, solid tidbit for people to take away. And then what I loved is that you're here and you're like the queen of mindset and happiness, and you're in your car listening to podcasts about mindset and happiness. Yeah. I just think that's such a great example of always being wanting to learn, but also learning to boost more of your strengths rather than that, let me shore up my weaknesses and bail the water out. Like, I just think you're putting more wind in your sails, and that's a very cool message for people to take away. So thank you for sharing those. Have you got any kind of like little pearls you're going to take away from this one?
Oh, definitely. I think little pearls to take away. Well, I'm going to get onto that 10% happier podcast. That sounds like right up my alley. I definitely think, you're just got such great advice around business owners and reaching out to other people, chatting to more and more people, joining your business network group, talking to someone who's been there and done it in business like you have, Alana, and getting online with them, and really, really being very clear with your goals and your why. I loved it when you said that about, and it's actually, you can hear the words, but actually doing it is really important. So getting really clear on why you're doing this business, why you started a business in the first place, writing that down and having that on a wall or something somewhere even, because that is really key to keeping you on track. That's huge to keeping you on track, because times are always going to, challenges will always come up. But you've got to remember why you're doing it in the first place, and go back to that place of, I wanted to do this, I enjoy to do this, I chose to do this, I chose to do this, and how can I make it the best that I can be? So I love that, aligning with your why.
Awesome.
Thank
cool.
You. Thank
you.
you.
Oh, well, this has been super great chat. Like always, I always will go with something that's awesome. So I hope everyone joining us on replay, who's kind enough to bear with our technical difficulties, enjoys the conversation, and we will be back in another fortnight. We have an amazing guest lined up, who's going to be talking to us all about courage. So get ready. The words per minute's going to be through the roof. It's going to be awesome.
Love it.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.